All right, I am Pops. Let's talk about another episode of Black Mirror. This is season 7. Yes, again, we are going to navigate through what is probably kind of a big turnaround for me. This was actually quite interesting. It's sort of in the same universe as the Black Mirror Bandersnatch, kind of a find your own journey kind of thing. Like it feels very much like we're going to lean more into modern life simulation. And there's this game that's called The Thronglets that this guy. So basically, we have him get arrested by police. His name is Cameron. He's caught shoplifting and he's tied to some sort of murder. And we don't know a ton of details, but Peter Cabaldi is this really weird homeless guy looking person. And the story is going to sit around a lot of flashbacks. We find out how did we end up here? He kind of details and chronicles this long story of basically kind of being kind of this, eccentric game reviewer for PC Zone. He meets this really odd, strange man who's gone back into creating this new game called The Thronglets. He ends up stealing a copy of it and becomes obsessed with what these things actually are. Home, his little abode, it's full of this much tech. And that's right. He is actually keeping kind of a real life sim. Think of it as like The Sims meets what looks almost like something lifted out of a Cubert game. The Thronglets are like actual entities. They're not sort of in its own virtual thing. They actually do exist. I thought about the Tamagotchi. Anybody remember the Tamagotchis? This little, it was on your wrist. The kids would play this little game. They had they would be like these keychain ones, and you'd have to remember to feed it and clean up after it. And it was programmed to do these different tasks. Well, the Thronglets are like that too. They need to be fed, and they divide. They do different things, and the entire story kind of centers around what he's done to get to that point and create this sort of like virtual place, virtual planet. And the trailer doesn't really get too much of it. We get to see the different officers that Peter Cabaldi's talking to, and this guy is completely nuts. And this guy, this one officer here, has no patience for this. Like, you are a murderer. We know you're a murderer. Well, come to find out, the Peter Capaldi character had this guy who would just show up and live with him. He was moving LSD. He ended up on LSD and realized that it was making him better at the game and he could actually understand and communicate with them. And then he's gone to this PC Zone job that he has to do, and the drug dealer starts playing the game and just starts killing some of the Thronglets, just starts murdering them. Now, they're real entities. They're not just some sort of pixelated fantasy video game thing. So he's enraged, ends up with the murder. That's how we got here. So the entire twist, the Black Mirror thing is us trying to understand like what is actually going on. What I think was weird was in this trailer, they kind of spoil the entire episode for you. So I'm going to go ahead there because they went there, right? So if you did not see this, you'd want to see it. Don't watch this, in my opinion, but this is actually what's going on. He's sitting there the whole time asking for a pen and paper, and he ends up basically drawing a QR code. And the QR code basically connects to the interwebs of this interrogation room and somehow allows some sort of internet access for the Thronglets. And now the Thronglets are sort of like out there. So imagine an AI video game where the AI actually are human or at least some sort of life form. And then they want out of the game. They want to get out into our world. And they use this human as a gateway using the QR code to get some sort of access. Like it's almost like a backdoor code to get a worm in there. And it kind of, boom, they're in our world. I will say that it was actually just sort of interesting because everyone is sort of affected because the Thronglets use this signal and it boom zaps every human brain. And now the humans no longer want to be negative, no conflict, no violence. And it's definitely, it feels like that life lesson slash threat that we have from AI. Like, will the AI get to a point where they will view the humans as the biggest threats and then retaliate against the humans? So we see that the Skynet thing, right? The Skynet thing is they launch the missiles because the humans are the problem, right? They launch the thermonuclear one, then they start hunting the humans. So they're the problem. I don't think Terminator does a good enough job to make us sort of like lean into that over some time. iRobot, I think, might be the better example because here you see them living amongst you. Everyone is sort of naive to what their threat could actually be, and come to find out, you're thinking it's like corporate mastermind, but in fact, in iRobot, it's actually the AI going, no, they're the threat. So we're going to run like a police state. We're going to take control of this and get these humans under control and keep them under control. The Thronglets are sort of like another spin on that, where now they're going to target the humans more directly, target their physiological components of their brain and just affect them. And I think that is a very, very interesting concept. What was really weird for me was in the marketing, Netflix actually dropped like a Thronglet game like on Netflix. I don't know anyone else. Does anyone want any part of a Thronglet game after seeing this show? It's like watching Jaws and saying, I really could go for a swim right now. It's like, what is wrong with people who wanted to run out and play this Thronglet game after watching this episode? But the trailer and the footage doesn't really give us a lot to go on. I would say this is actually one of the best episodes of the season. I feel like we're actually in Black Mirror with this episode. It feels more technologically interesting, asking the right kinds of questions, some open-ended things. Obviously, Peter Capaldi and everyone else was really good in it. It's almost exclusively him and his episode. There are different characters, of course, that I mentioned, but nobody of any real, significance. And it's just more of the deep-seated outer limits, Twilight Zone questions that Dark Mirror needs to ask and should ask. Probably the best episode of the season. 4 out of 5 for me. Super, super strong. Maybe 3.5. I'd want to rewatch it again on this one. This is a tricky one because I don't know how I feel about the rewatchability because I want to see how the setups get paid off. Because when you're first watching it, you don't totally know how that's going to go. So for me, I think my rewatch is going to kind of figure out if I'm going to land on a 4 or it's going to be more like towards the 3. So I'm in there, but very solid, very strong. Definitely the best episode of the season. Probably the best episode in a while. Probably one of the better episodes of the last couple seasons. Really, really good. So anyway, let's go on. Let's do some more Black Mirror. Love to hear from you guys if you still watch this show or not. If your thoughts on any of the episodes, love to hear from you. I am Pops.